Hey everybody, it's Libby again with Fearlessness, and we have an amazing guest today. Amber, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Tell everybody who you are, what you do, where you're at, and your story.
My name is Amber, and I am the owner of Cowpoke Cleaning out of Northwest Oklahoma. So I got into this because, I have two kids. I'm a single mom, and, usually when people start businesses like this, it's out of desperation, right? So I was working at a coffee shop, and I was barely making ends meet, and I hit my knees one night and I was like, Lord, I need a break. I need something to give. And I dreamed, ironically enough, about cleaning houses that night. And when I mentioned it to my grandmother the next morning, she was like, I actually had a dream about you cleaning houses last night too. And so to me, it was a sign that, that's where I needed to go. So I started cleaning houses on the side as a second income, and then it just got bigger from there. Took on a business partner, and that didn't go very well. And then after that, I decided that I couldn't do this by myself. I can't be the smartest person in the room. So I hired a business coach, CBF, Cleaning Business Fundamentals with Debbie Sardone, and here we are today.
Yes. And so many of our guests have come from Debbie and her community. We love Cleaning Business Fundamentals. If you ever have any questions about it for our listeners, always comment and we can give you information and the link so that you can find out more about CBF. I am still a member of CBF and started out as a member of CBF as well, and a coach in CBF. Always forget that part. So love your story. I think many of us in this industry, or even in similar industries like lawn care, landscaping, construction, we all start out of almost necessity or desperation because of the low startup, right? The easy, I just got to learn the skill. For me, it was I needed the time freedom because I was going through a divorce or a separation to control my time. And it was such a low startup. And I didn't start cleaning though. I started organizing. Then I added the cleaning when I saw the recurring revenue in cleaning.
Yes.
But, I'm not sure if you're open to talking about it, but I would love to hear like the lessons you learned from having a partner.
Lessons.
And the reason I say the lessons I've learned is because I've had a partner too in other things. So a wise coach once told me, he said, 100% of partnerships end, but only 50% of marriages end in divorce. But 100% of partnerships in business end because either you die, you sell, or you buy them out.
Yes. Well, mine was the latter of the three. I bought her out. It was just a difference in opinion on how to run the business and which direction we wanted to run it in. My direction is I wanted to be like, I homeschool my kids as well. So I wanted to be home with my kids more. When I started this, I wasn't homeschooling, but I wanted that to be an option. And so I wanted to go the direction of being a absentee owner. And, having that residual income and not having to worry about making ends meet while educating my children. And so I don't necessarily I can't speak on what she was actually really thinking or feeling.
Yeah.
Cause I'm not her, but it was just a difference in who was in charge of what. And any best advice that I could give is if you really want a partner, make sure that you have an ironclad responsibilities, like what they're going to do, what you're going to do, and what you guys are going to be in charge of. And make sure you also have it in writing so that you know what to fall back on, because that was our mistake, is we just winged it. We were like, oh yeah, she had her degree in accounting, and I was more of the customer service person. So she was going to do the back end, but then it ended up, our roles started getting mixed up, and then we didn't agree with where to spend money here, where to save it there, so on and so forth. So it's difficult.
It is, I have a friend who owns a software, and they had announced that there were co-CEOs. And I'm like, oh God, please don't do that. I cringed when I saw it online. And it's because only one person can be in charge. And so I think when there's a partnership, I have to say that when me and Paul started Woot Recruit, we were a partnership. And this is one thing we did very well, is that we took turns deciding who was in charge, depending on who the company needed. Like, we were willing to step down and say, I'll go sit in marketing or I'll go sit in ops while you're the CEO. And we took turns every quarter assessing who did the company need at this time? Like, who had the proper skill set to lead the company through this quarter? And we would kind of take turns. That worked out really, really well because we were both willing to just kind of take that back seat. But I think when there's partnerships, we both want to be that entrepreneur. Like, we both want to be the owner.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard.
Yes. And I found it was even harder because, so like I had actually started 3 years prior to bringing her on. So like it was my baby and I was taking it in the direction that I wanted to take it in. And then I brought her on thinking, and see, this is the fearlessness, the negative self-talk. Like, I can't do this by myself. I have to have somebody else to help me. I can't do this by myself. So I, brought her on out of sheer desperation or fear of not being able to do it on my own. And then when it came to buying her out, there was that fear again.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, that resonates with me because my story is similar but different. Organize It only has one owner, my cleaning company and organizing. But, with a Woot Recruit, we started, I had the process and I was using it. And then Paul helped me build it. So we started it together. There was no anything before the two of us, but he wanted to go a different direction. And we ended our relationship very mutually. It was very amicable. We went through an exercise called Vivid Vision years ago, and we discovered that we want the same end, but we don't have the same journey of how we're going to get there. And that's when we decided to part ways. And I had the same problem buying him out. I was like, oh my God, I can't do this by myself. I have no idea what I'm doing as a software owner. But neither did he, because he was a cleaning company owner. But it was that imposter syndrome that you have to like put on your, they say that you're a big boy or a big girl britches. And I'm from Oklahoma too. And, you just got to put on your big girl panties and do it. Or it's going to defeat you. So I had a moment of, luckily I had great people around me. I had a great COO who we had hired. Actually, Paul had hired him. And I had Chris and I had our team who helped me through that like month of total self-doubt of like, I'm going to hide from the world because one, how horrible of a person am I that someone didn't want to work with me no more? Like, I took it a little personal.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, do I need to do a reset or assessment of myself? And then it was...
Hey, everybody. Got a quick question for you. Is your job easy, stress-free, and full of rainbows and sunshine every single day? Yeah, I'd say that's a big fat no. Hi, I'm David Noe, host of Speakeasy HR, presented by Payroll Partners, and proud to be part of the Work-Defined community. Take a step down into my Speakeasy live on LinkedIn and YouTube, where we tackle HR and business challenges through raw, uncut, unfiltered conversations. This is HR like you've never heard it before. Bold, real, and full of practical takeaways. Real guests, bold insights, authentic conversations that drive change. Catch every episode on demand through your favorite podcast platform or all the content at speakeasyhr.com.
It's kind of like, how am I going to do this by myself? And luckily his name was Jim. He was our COO at the time. He was great. He was like, you have this, I'm here, let's talk. Every day he checked on me, like, here's what we're going to do today. And it was a brief moment of that, it's where that fearless comes in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same feeling. It happened in the opposite way. Now with another software, I just bought out my partner in that one. And only because he wants to focus on a certain segment of the industry. He wants to focus on lawn care.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to focus on cleaning. And so I'm buying him out and we're both excited. Like, there is no more imposter syndrome or like, because you've done it once, you kind of know what the other side looks like. You're not as fearful. He's excited because his focus isn't going to be divided anymore. I'm excited because I have more control over what I want to do for the industry itself.
Mm-hmm.
And not that he didn't let me change it. I'm excited because I can make changes faster. I don't have anybody to ask. But I love that story. And I think, you're right. I have a friend who, he told me the other day, he's got 22 LLCs. 22 LLCs, right? I'm an EO and he's in my forum. 22 LLCs. And I was like, man, that's a lot. But he loves partnerships. And I think it's really like, depends on how you're bred, right?
It definitely takes a different mindset for sure to be a partner. Yeah.
I'm a little too neurotic in
I have too much of a control issues. Like, it has to be done a certain way or I'm not happy.
so I don't have a control issue, but I have a tidy issue. It's got to be like organized. I don't care what you do, just document it and put it in the right spot. So it's a level of control. I will say that. It's weird when it comes to control.
Yes. I'm actually glad that you brought up the imposter syndrome. I've actually been, so part of what I learned about myself after the partnership ended was, not only the, oh my gosh, am I going to be able to do this by myself? But I also learned how to get through that imposter syndrome, to work through that fear. I think people tend to label the lack of, or not the lack of, imposter syndrome as a lack of confidence. Because if you think about it, when you say, oh, I don't know if I can do this by myself, you're lacking the confidence. And as you said, now you can do it again because you've been through it again. You can do it. So that's how we teach ourselves to get through that imposter syndrome. Recently, I actually listened to a podcast from Mel Robbins. Absolutely love her. She said the definition of confidence is the willingness to try.
Mm-hmm.
And that resonated really well, especially in this subject that we're talking about right now, because I don't know about you, but maybe not so much because you've done it a lot more than I have, but I had a little nervous when you approached me and said, hey, why don't you want to be on my podcast? I'm like, what does she see in me? So it's that, that nervousness, but I'm here.
You are.
Because I have the confidence to do it. The willingness to try. So I think as humans, we're not wired to have naturally have confidence. We have to build it. It's a strength. It's like a muscle we have to build. And we don't know that we can do it until we've done it. But you have to have the courage to step forward first. Yes.
And that's what I say, fearlessness is the courage to walk through the fires of hell.
Mm-hmm.
Not knowing how it's going to come out on the other side. You don't know, but you're willing to try it.
Yes. Yes.
And I love that example because I think that we also, on the other side, do a lot of things to ourselves that we knock down that confidence. We erode it and we don't even know we're doing it. Not holding ourselves to certain commitments because we're the first person we're the first person we would let down is ourselves versus somebody else. And you're like, oh, I'm going to start that diet tomorrow. Or, oh, I'm going to go to the gym tomorrow. Or, hey, I'm going to work on this project tomorrow. And then you don't do it. And you just say, oh, nobody knows, nobody's watching. But I think what's more impactful is how that slowly chips away at our self-confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't realize it. And then we wonder why, we're down and we wonder why we're in a rut. And I think it's just that small erosion over time that we keep, it's like we're self-sabotaging and we don't even know it.
Yes.
I've spent the last year learning about myself. That breakup with Paul really shook me because it was a partnership. I truly valued him and having him. And there was a statement that my COO had said to me. He goes, businesses with one founder typically struggle. And this is something that our cleaning business owners need to hear. And I'm like, but why? I don't understand. And he gave me a book and it was a COO book. I'm sorry, it was a SaaS book.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to find it because I have all my books up here. I've shared this statement before in the book. It's a SaaS book. It is called The Great CEO Within. And it was just the opening paragraph. And it was true to what Jim had told me. And I couldn't figure out, I'm like, why? Because he just said, I need to watch out that businesses with one owners, typically the owners burn out fast. And I see this in cleaning. I see this in lawn care. And when you go into software, there's a lot of owners. There's 4 owners to some software. You're like, holy crap, that's a lot of owners.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because there's only one person willing to work on the weekends, one person willing to put in all-nighters, one person willing to work without pay if they have to. One person. But when you have 2 owners, you can move twice as fast.
Mm-hmm.
When you have 4 owners, and then you wonder why some companies blow us out of the water, whether you're a software or a home service, how many owners do they have? They could have 4 investors working at night or working for nothing to get it up, or the money to put into it. And so I think sometimes we don't consider that. That's the benefit of a partnership. And in the book, it states, and that that's the most thing. That's the number one thing I took away from this silly book. Was burnout in single owner solo founders have high rates of burnout. The emotional burden is just too high than multiple owners or founders. And, just because for me, my partnership ended with Paul, we ended on great terms. We're still friendly. I still talk to his wife. It didn't burn me from taking on another partnership. So, with my next software that I partnered with, I have the benefit of buying them out. So it helped build it fast. And then I'm getting a great deal buying that portion out. So there's always a benefit. But I think that clear communication, the confidence that we need, but that's that phrase that a solo founder is more likely to burn out than a multiple.
I can see that. Yeah. Because, when it's only you only have you to worry about, how are we going to make payroll next? Is this check going to come in on time? Is this person I don't know about other cleaning business owners, but when a technician calls me at 7:30 at night, my heart automatically goes into my throat. Oh my gosh, what fire am I going to have to put out today? And you're the only person moving this machine forward. You're the oil, you're the gas, you're you're everything. So I can see how that is definitely 100% true.
Yeah. So I think this is a great topic. And, the imposter syndrome, the fearless, that it's not necessarily lack of courage. It's not knowing and going ahead and taking that risk of, I grew my cleaning company because it was me and Jeannie and Molly had this competition of who could get to $1 million in the fastest, in 3 years.
Yes.
And we both did it. I'm not both. All 3 of us did it. All 3 of us got our green jacket. I was a startup. Molly had closed down from COVID, but rebuilt back to $1 million. Jeannie was only a year old, but then closed down during COVID and started back up. And we did it. But man, during that time, I had some courage and some fearlessness in me. I mean, I made so many mistakes. I blew so much money trying to get to $1 million. I mean, but I made it to $1 million. Don't ask me how great the profit was because I was just feeding it back into the business, trying to get to $1 million. And it's crazy to see how much you're willing to risk because my husband had a career. And so the money wasn't so dependent on me. But now, because of COVID, my husband lost his job, right? And now he works for the company. Now my mother works in another company. My son works in one of the other companies. And I operate much more reserved sometimes when it comes to those big decisions.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just, if you're the sole owner of the company, I mean, you have family that work for you. I don't have family that works for me right now, but your employees are like your family. They are dependent on you to put food on their table. That's the most stressful part about being a solo owner is you're the only one that's carrying this burden. And people don't, especially employees, they don't understand the strain that it puts on you. And so I'm
just laughing because of some of the conversations I've had this week.
Yes. The chaos that they cause, and they don't even understand the amount of stress that they cause you. And I mean, if there's one thing that I could tell an employee, it's to if you want your boss to treat you like a human, treat them like humans too. We're not robots. We have feelings.
And we're not. So I put out a reel, I think it was last week or it was this week, about how all of our friends and family think that we're rich and we can do whatever we want and that money grows on trees because we're a business owner. And then I had a very direct, passionate meeting yesterday with one of our leadership teams for one of the businesses saying hey, if we're giving raises in 2025, we're going to have to assess a few things because some of your departments have hit budget, like capacity of the budget without, you got to raise revenue first. And I said, I haven't given myself a raise, and I haven't. One of the employees goes, but you're the $1 million owner. And I said, if you think I'm a millionaire, you don't know who I am at all.
Just because my revenue says it's $1 million does not mean I make that.
No. And I was just like shocked, one. And I was like, I have to go back and assess like who they think I am. And, you know, the burden, and I don't think people see it. A great example is the cleaners came to clean our house today. And on my kitchen bar, I have all these papers spread on the bar. And I told my husband, I said, oh my God, I don't want to touch them because I'm in the middle of something, but I need to pick them up for the cleaner. And I said, Chris, this is exactly what entrepreneurs have to do, and nobody sees this side. In order, it was the IRS, the state, the county, right?
Yes.
A wage garnishment judgment, an attorney, because I'm going to the attorney for something. In that order, it was like the state. No, sorry, it was the IRS. But it said that I actually had a credit. So I was like, that was a good IRS. But I got to still check on it and give it to the accountant. Then it was the state. And I have multiple locations. So it was like the state of Oklahoma, the state of Florida. And then it was the county for something else with the county. And then again, it was a wage garnishment judgment. And I'm like, I don't even know how to do this. Can I give it to the accountant? And then it was like some attorney papers. And I told Chris, I'm like, this is exactly the stuff that nobody sees, that takes forever. It's super stressful. Yes, I have an accountant. And yes, I have an attorney. But I'm like, I still have to like
gather all that stuff for them. Like,
am I going to send it to them? Am I going to send it to them? I got to email it. I got to take screenshots. I got to put it in the Google Drive. I'm like, this is what I spend my day with. If I could actually just do work, I'd get more work done.
Yep, exactly. Like the paperwork's the holdback. Like I'm sitting right here next to me. I have a stack of paperwork that needs to be filed. But who has time for that?
Yes. So, I think there's a lot of behind the scenes that our employees don't see. And I learned that firsthand yesterday in the meeting that we had. I may own multiple businesses and may whatever people can think that they see me online. But like in that meeting, I generally got my feelings hurt because one of the employees said that they were scared of me. And I told my husband, I'm like, I don't know if I should like take that as a compliment or an insult, but people have a hard time with business owners because we're so open and honest and direct sometimes because of the level we communicate at or at the speed we need to communicate at.
Yes.
And I was kind of like, well, I'm not sure how to take that. So I'm going to take that back and think about it. So, it's just those entrepreneur struggles that people don't see in real life, that your employees have a misconception about you. Even if you're so open and so honest and so available, they still have a misconception about you.
Yes. Yeah. I'm currently struggling with, I have whatever aurora or vibe that I've given my employees. I've given them the illusion, not necessarily the illusion, but the feeling that they can talk to me however they want to talk to me. So like sometimes they're super rude. And so you're over here.
I have the opposite.
You're over here. Your employees are like, oh my God, I'm scared of her. And I'm over here like, my employees are like, rawr.
Well, I think it goes back to all of our hunts for that. And I call it mastery because it's like Michael Jordan. He was after the chase of mastering basketball, the sport, right? And you're never going to hit 100% of your shots. Like no one ever had 100% shooting average. Mm-hmm. And I think that business owners, for us, it's the same chase, that we're like chasing that mastery of how to be that leader. Mm-hmm. Right. And what is that leader? Everybody's different. And I'm trying to find the balance of like, they're scared of me, or is it a level of respect that causes fear? Because after that, I was like, okay, well, we need to have some one-to-ones and some meetings, because either I got to step down if they're that scared of me because there's no collaboration, there's no openness, or is it kind of deflecting other issues that may be going on personally? Mm-hmm. But I've had, then it's on the other side of it. It's like, I tried so hard to be a great boss that now they're too open.
Yep. That's where I'm at. I'm trying to be too much of a great boss, and now they're too open.
So I told my husband, I said, well, this could go either one of two ways. If they're scared, I could scare them even more and just go off the deep end. I mean, that's not right, but it might get some results.
Yes. Not the results you were looking for, but yes.
No, it goes one of two ways. Like, you have to, like, okay, I could just keep going with this, or kind of just reassess my positioning in the company and see, like, am I the best person to be leading right now?
Yes.
And willing to kind of take a back seat and let somebody else be in charge. That would not hurt my feelings.
Nope. I often say that, like, one of the things that I wish that I could hand off right now is dealing with the employees every day. It's not that I don't enjoy my employees. It's not that I don't enjoy getting to know them on a personal level. It's like most of, especially in what I have found in the service industry, we tend to be empathetic and wear our hearts on our sleeve, and we just want to please everybody. Always, all the time. So it's really hard to be that good guy, the good boss, and the bad one, or the hard boss. You know, that is sets the rules and the boundaries and sticks with them. Like, it's a constant struggle. Like, it's hard for us.
It is hard, and there was a great conversation going on social media right now about empathy. One of our friends actually posted it, and she had said, I don't have any empathy. And like a ton of people like commented. And she goes, I didn't mean I don't care. She just meant, like, I don't feel that I'm an empathetic person. Because all people are like, you need therapy, you need this. Like, And for me, and she goes, but why do we need empathy? Why do I have to feel what they're feeling? And I said, I think we have a misconception of what empathy is in business. To me, empathy in business means you have been heard. I heard you. And that's like, as far as I take it, you've been heard. We hear you. Not, I understand. Not like anything beyond them being heard, because I may not understand, and I don't need to understand it. But the fact that they were heard and understood what they said, to me, that's empathy in business. And I think women get confused because we're naturally empathetic, which I think is a superpower in business, because big giant CEOs, big giant like corporate firms pay tons of money for men to go learn how to be empathetic, where that we have that natural tendency. So it's actually a superpower if we learn how to use it like properly. And I think that we think that empathy means we're going to kind of get run over, but that is only if we are taking that empathy like to another level versus like, heard you, I understand how you're feeling, but we need to like, let's move on to the issue on the table. And just being heard is what almost everybody wants. Even when a customer complains, I've taught my office, don't say a word. Don't let them complain. Listen. Like, don't even say a word. And after they stop, don't say anything. And it's, oh my God, I have trainings on this. It's hilarious. And we're like, don't say anything. And the customer will be like, are you there? And we're like, yes, we're just listening. And they're like, okay. And then they keep going. And then they're like, well, are you still there? Yeah, we're listening. And they have then talked themselves from complaining into the solution or resolution. And all I've taught the office to say is like, thank you so much. How can we make this right? And that diffuses like 99% of all issues, whether they're employee issues and employees kind of going like rogue, or a customer complaining about the job, the service, the quality. Don't say anything. Just listen. And that to me is empathy, because everyone wants to be heard.
I've learned that with my employees too.
Yeah.
Usually whenever we're having a counseling session, I ask them, what do you think that it is that I should be doing? What is it that you need from me? This is what I'm hearing. So how can I help? How is it that, as your boss, as you being an employee of Cowpokes, how can we make this right?
Yeah. And that's great. And we do the same thing with our customers. If you just listen, and your customers, when you do that to a customer on the phone, they are totally, totally thrown off, because they've never heard that before. Most people are so defensive, quick to react, quick to give a solution, quick to give a discount, quick to go do a reclean. But just listen and don't say a word. Let the silence be there and let them ask, are you still there? We're like, yeah. Oh, we're just waiting for you to finish. We're listening. It's like one of the greatest customer service tips. But I have another question that you mentioned earlier, and that was, you had originally wanted to homeschool your kids.
Mm-hmm.
Are you homeschooling them?
Yes, I have been homeschooling them since 2019.
Awesome. We homeschool Yaya. That's why I ask. It's an adventure.
Yes. And running a business by yourself and homeschooling and being a single mom, oh my gosh, you have to be like, I used to think
Super
that I was so
organized.
organized. Yes, I used to think that I was so organized, but the bigger the company gets, the less organized I feel. So yeah, but I mean, you just got to set your mind to it. And, that breaking through that imposter syndrome, having the confidence to do it, and the um, pushing through that fear. That reminds me, I'm a Christian, and I believe in the Word, in God's Word, and in God's Word, He tells us that we should dwell upon that is which is praiseworthy. So in other words, don't dwell on those negative thoughts. My pastor likes to say, change your stinking thinking. Like, we're allowed to have those thoughts because it's human nature. We're going to have those thoughts. But what we're not allowed to do is to dwell on it.
Yeah.
So a lot of like meditation has taught me a lot, learning how to meditate correctly. And it's not just sitting in a quiet room listening to music. It's actually like getting into this silent mind and knowing when and knowing that it's okay if that sneaky thought comes in. That's okay. You had it, accept it, let it go. So but that's the same thing. Learning how to meditate and learning how to let go of whatever thought that enters your mind also teaches you how to change your stinking thinking. And when you can change your stinking thinking, then you can get past that imposter syndrome because you're not dwelling on that. I can't do this by myself. How am I ever going to do this?
Well, so much I think of our bottlenecks, roadblocks, obstacles, whatever we want to call it, in business, in life, and in business, right? In business, they call them the valleys of despair. Oh my God. And it's all your mindset, because you had a certain mindset to get to one spot, and now you need to change the way you think, your mindset, to get to the next level. It has really nothing to do with your marketing or your hiring, or it's your mindset and how you approached those things or how you did those things. And so I think that that's great. I'm a big fan of the book, Think and Grow Rich. And it's all about mindset. The whole book is about mindset and how successful people think and how they position themselves, because that goes back into not just meditation but manifesting. And a lot of people can't do it. It was hard for me to do it, because manifesting is thinking proactively positive thoughts about what I'm going to do as if I did it.
Yes.
And sometimes we don't even have the confidence to say those things. I'm looking at the paper because my affirmation paper from Think and Grow Rich is always taped to the front of my wall right here. And when I first started, I'm like, I sound like an idiot.
That's so cheesy.
But it's because you are at a subconscious level, don't even have the confidence sometimes to believe that you can achieve that.
Yes. And it's just it's repeating that rhetoric in your head. I can do this. I am a multi-million-dollar company. I am a multi-million-dollar company. Over and over and over again. I like to say, when I talk to my technicians in my company, I take their mental health, their mental journey very serious. When a technician comes in and they start talking, and I do this with my children too, and they start talking negative about, where they are in life, they're not going to be anywhere. I often look at them and say, you want to try that again? Because that is what keeps you in that position. When you allow yourself to dwell on those thoughts, you're letting them ferment, you're letting them grow. And in order to change that, it's okay to have those feelings. As soon as that thought comes into your mind, oh, I'm never going to be a multi-million-dollar company. Nope. Yes, I am. You correct yourself just like you would correct your friend. Why are you talking about yourself in this way when you wouldn't allow your friend to talk about themselves this way?
Or your children.
Yeah.
You would stop your kids in 5 seconds, but you do it to yourself all day long.
Yep. You want to rephrase that? Because I don't think that's true.
Yeah, I love that. And I bet a lot of people wouldn't do that, like as in stop somebody in their tracks when they say that and say, hey, why don't you rephrase that, is a great, like that's a great teaching moment for your technicians, for your children, even for your friends. So I'm so happy that you were able to build your company. Now you can homeschool. What's like your favorite part of being a business owner and homeschooling at the same time?
Oh my gosh. So going through this journey, and I'm not done with it yet. I still struggle with maybe I should put them back in school. Maybe I should put them back in school. But the other day, my oldest, he's 12 years old, they watched the boxing fight between
Evander Holyfield. No, Mike Tyson and the other guy. I can't remember.
Yeah, the other guy,
Paul something. Yes,
that
Paul.
Sounds right. Maybe wrong. But anyway, so yes, so they watched that boxing match, and then afterwards, my oldest sat down behind me the other day, and he wrote up a contract, and like it had like bullet points, like this is what both parties are responsible for. This is what this party's responsible for, and like what 12-year-old knows that isn't exposed to an entrepreneurial or a business owner every day. He answers the phone for me when, like, if I'm on the phone with someone else, he'll come over, Cowpoke Cleaning, this is Jaden, how may I help you?
Awesome.
And he'll write it down and go on, and like says, he told me, Mom, or asking him what he wants to be whenever he grows up, or what he wants to do when he gets out of high school. And he says, well, run a business.
That's great.
So that's my favorite part, is not only are my children getting the general education that they're getting, but they're also getting how conflict resolution. I'm in a 100 square foot, literally, like you can see the back wall. This is how big my office is. So they're in my office when I am counseling my employees. They're in my office when I'm hiring, when I'm interviewing, when I'm making phone calls, dealing with that difficult client. So they're also learning how to deal with these things as well. So they're getting a leg up in the entrepreneurial side of things, as well as their general education.
I love that. They're getting like real world experience. We homeschooled all of our children until they chose to go into public school. So my 26-year-old went in the 8th grade. My 16-year-old went in when he was in 7th grade, like halfway through the 7th grade year. They both have their reasonings for going in. Like Austin, who is 16 now and a junior, he went in because he wanted to play college ball. So he wanted to get in so he could play high school basketball at a particular high school. It was very strategic in what he wanted to do. But my kids, are not like, I think with that homeschooling benefit and that real world exposure, they're very independent. They're not dependent on friends or cliques. The girls love both of my boys because they don't need like that affirmation or dependency. They're very, very independent.
Yes.
And with Yaya, she's 6, and we have someone helping us do it because we're both very busy, a couple days a week, and then we take the rest of the days. But like today, she got to go read Lisa Chow, so she's one of our friends, book to a special needs class because her book was written for her son, or on behalf of her son, Anthony, who has special needs. And our very dear friend is a special needs teacher. And so Yaya has a podcast, so she talks about books all the time. And the school invited her to come read to the special needs school. And so
That's
just
so nice.
The benefit of being able to do that on a Wednesday afternoon, everybody's like, don't you have to go to school? She goes, no, I don't do school on Wednesdays. And they're like, what kind of school do you go to?
Yeah.
So it's just exposing them. Like she got to go on stage at CBF Live for like a brief second. And now her dream is to be on stage.
Yes. That's awesome.
And I'm like, really? She goes, yeah, next time I want to talk. I'm like, okay.
More power to you.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that actually have stage fright, girl. Come on.
I know. She actually sold, like kind of outsold her class for Girl Scouts, the cookies. And she got to go on stage in front of the entire like Girl Scout. It was like the region. There was like I think 1,000 people in the audience. And she got to go on stage and introduce herself and how many cookies she sold. And she could not wait. She was waiting and waiting. She was so impatient because they started with the older kids and went to the younger segment. And I'm like, you are not normal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, look who she's being raised by. I mean,
Yeah. So and we love it because it also, and I get it if you don't have that ability to homeschool. Um, but we can still expose them to different things after school, on the weekends. We love it though, because it doesn't, well, we're anchored right now because Austin's a junior, so we can do things and go places, but only temporarily for short
yes.
periods of time. But we love like not being so anchored to something.
Yes, you definitely, homeschooling it opens the world up. The world is your oyster because you can leave tomorrow and be gone for 2 weeks and not have to worry about the truancy officer coming and giving you a visit, But at the same time, in those 2 weeks, you're still giving your kid an education. When we take vacations, we try to slip in a little bit of educational, visits when we go on vacation. So, I mean,
Yeah.
and like you said, homeschooling isn't for everybody. I didn't think I wouldn't have the patience if it was somebody else's kid, to be honest. Some people don't have the patience to teach their own children, and that's fine. But also, like you said, there are other ways that you can expose them to the ability to be independent, to give them a leg up in the workforce by leading them by example, not letting fear stop you from achieving the goals that you want with your business, and talking to your kids about your goals and how you're going to achieve them and what steps you're going to take, and letting them in on the process of how you are succeeding and what you're using to do it and what failed, what worked, what didn't work. Because not only can you learn from your failures, but you can also learn from somebody else's. What better way than to learn from somebody else's failures? Because then you don't have to go through it.
Yeah.
What is it? The who, not how?
Mm-hmm. No, I love that. We personally, in our family, we do a couples quarterly planning every quarter. And then we do a family planning before we do the business. And the reason I do this is so that I know how much to give and how much I have to give to the business. And also that the business is in line with my family plans and my family values and my couple's values. But that being said, when you do that, you are including that spouse or husband or partner and those kids in the journey. And then they're not so, Mom, why are you working all the time? Like, Mom, what are you doing? Like, can you stop? Like, then they understand why you're working all the time. Then they want to help. Then they understand what you're trying to achieve and why, versus never including them in anything, I think is a big, big mistake. I have a ton of people that reach out to me because they ask me, how did I get Chris so on board with what I'm doing? And well, I can tell you, I epically failed the first time, like epic. And I never thought that I had the ability to help or coach or teach people because who am I kind of thing. Until I look back and I said, oh my gosh, I've been in a horrible relationship. I've been through divorce. I've been through separation. I've been through a custody battle. Like I've had businesses that have failed. I've lived with an alcoholic, an addict. I'm like, I have a ton of experience on what not to do.
Yep.
And I have so many people that reach out to me about how do you get your family on board? How do they understand your vision? And I think the first step is communicating it versus dumping, like you said, all that negative stuff, right? Because we're always talking about the things that went wrong in the business on our spouses and our kids, and then they don't want to hear about the business.
Yes. Yes, precisely. I mean, we all know negativity spreads a lot faster than positivity. I mean, we can even
have
translate
you seen social
that.
media?
Yeah. We can even translate that into our own relationship. So what do you focus on the most in your relationship? Like the negative parts outshine the positive parts. So in order to bring the excitement, the want to become an entrepreneurial to your children, your family, your friends, whoever, whatever, telling them the positive things along with the negative things helps a lot, instead of just as human beings tend to complain a lot.
We do.
And if we would just change that rhetoric in our head, the negative thoughts we give ourselves.
Why do you think we do that?
Why? Man, you know,
Gets into like philosophy and like history kind of.
yes,
Like, I wonder, like, why do we do that? I don't know.
me neither. We can speculate about it all day. You know, and it's probably the what's the word I'm looking for? It's probably the fallback of living in a fallen world.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do, and this is not the answer at all, but you know, that statement, like, you're a product of your environment. So if we look back at, you know, our parents, our grandparents, how we were raised, who we were raised around, what did we hear when we were a child? How did we create solution, or how did we, like you said, you're teaching them conflict resolution and skills that they're not going to necessarily learn at school. I think if we look back at those things, that has a big influence for sure on that mindset. And that is so hard to change.
Yes. We are a product in spite of or because of our environment.
Yeah.
We can choose to take that, you know, what is his name? Canadian philosopher. What is his name? He says, it's not just him that says it, but you can have two kids raised by the same parents and they are two different people.
Yeah.
And they also look at their childhood completely different.
Oh my God. Yes. My sister, I'm like, I don't know what house she was living in, because her recollection of how we grew up is different than mine. And I'm older, so I would think I would have but so here's the other thing that goes into that. This is like super deep, and we're coming up on the hour, but we rewrite our past in our own head.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And you can rewrite your past any way you want. Not that it's right or wrong, but you do rewrite it, and you don't even know you do it.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, we do.
Because, you know, for a long time in my life, I was in complete denial about like some of the abuse and some of what I had to live with when I was with my ex, when he was at his worst moments, the infidelity, like, and I almost like erased it from my memory, because I thought that it was, people would look at me like, oh my God, I can't believe she let that happen to her. Like, oh my God, I can't believe she. And so I almost erased it from my memory and rewrote that past until I had like a life-changing moment or an epiphany that said, I'm never going to get to the next level unless I address those things. I'm never going to get to where I want to go unless I stop lying to myself, stop rewriting the past, and go back and address those things and use them to help other people who might be going through the same thing.
It comes full circle into the you know, changing the rhetoric in our minds. You know, we have the power to change who we are. And as entrepreneurs, I don't know about you, but it doesn't infuriate me. It kind of irritates me a little bit. Like, why are you why? Why are you staying in one spot? Change it if you don't like it, because you can.
You can. And that goes to the Benjamin Hardy book, like, be your future self now.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Like,
yes,
whatever that is, but be it now. You can be it. That's the beauty of it, is that you can be anything you want to be. But first you have to start.
Who said that? Who said it when, like, you have to show up every day as if you are the person you want to be tomorrow?
I don't remember, but I know the quote.
And which is so true. So true.
Yeah. That's why I get up every day and put a hat on.
Put a hat on.
I don't put a hat on every day. But
I used, or marketing hat or
yeah. I used to you know, like, not get dressed. And especially when you started working from home, I felt myself kind of slip. I'm like, oh, I was put yoga pants on today. And I'm like, no, like, I can't do that. Like, no matter if I'm working from home or working from the office, who do I want to be tomorrow? That's the person I need to be today.
Yes. Yes.
And, but we're going to wrap up. I have loved this conversation. This was great. Amber, I think you and I think very similar and very alike, and love that we both have cleaning companies. We both homeschool our kids, and we just have a lot of alignment in the way we think about business and life. So I love that.
Yes.
And for our listeners, if you want to find more about Amber, we're going to have her information to her business in the show notes and the comments as well, so that you can check her out. And if you want to hear more episodes, make sure to subscribe to the Fearlessness podcast. And Amber, I want to thank you for being a guest, and it was great.
Thank you.